Welcome to the show. We've got a great show today. I don't do a lot of gear reviews, but every now and then I run into a product that strikes me as exceptional or at least worth talking about for one reason or another. A few months ago, I reviewed a $15 anvil from Harbor Freight, and I'll link to that review here so you can see that if you want to watch it. Spoiler alert, I really liked that anvil. That turned out to be one of my most popular videos. But unfortunately, since then, I haven't really found a product from Harbor Freight that I really felt I could give like an enthusiastic, positive review of. I should mention that I have had pretty good results with the 1x30 belt grinder. I'm not going to complain about it, but we'll save that review for another day. But getting back to the point of this video, some weeks ago I bought a couple of cheap folding knives from Harbor Freight. And I had this plan to test them, like I was going to do a review of like super cheap budget knives and, give them like this really thorough, out in the woods. Well, one of them turned out to just be complete garbage. And so that knife you will not see here. In fact, I have, I disassembled it and I'm probably going to use some parts out of it for some other projects that I'm working on because it was, the knife itself was just, it wasn't good. I'll put it that way. But this one right here, very different story. They call this the Challenger, I believe, the Gordon brand Challenger. As soon as I opened the package and felt this in my hand, I could see there was a night and day huge difference between this one and the other knife that I had bought. Before I go further, I will get one pet peeve out of the way. You can see that this is a flipper back here, and it's never, since I bought it, it's never really been able to flip the blade all the way open. Now, to be fair, I haven't lubricated this, I haven't, adjusted the pivot or anything like that, and I'm guessing that I could probably get that to work really nicely if I maybe tuned it a little. But I wanted to give it an honest review, and this is the way it came out of the box. So, I'm not going to go and do additional work to it. So I'll just expect it to be a little stiff. I shouldn't say stiff. It's actually a pretty smooth operating knife, but expect it to not flip open easily right out of the box. Now, with that said, there's nothing wrong with these thumb studs. You got one on each side. Very useful, very ergonomic. They're in the right spot. They're easy to access, and it really is a pretty smooth opening knife. And really, in most other ways, this is an excellent EDC knife. The G10 scales are, I would say, phenomenal. I have held much more expensive knives. I've owned much more expensive knives. I honestly have not found a knife that has what I would call better grip in this size of a knife. The design feels good in the hand. The edges here are maybe just a little sharp. They're not bad actually. But if you were using that all day long doing some type of work, skinning, or something like that, heavy duty type of work, which really that's not what this knife is for. But if you did some work like that, you're probably going to want more comfortable. But for ordinary tasks that you would use an EDC knife for, the grip on this is just fine. It feels good in the hand, functional, grippy. It's not going to slip out of your hand. I think it's a very good design in that way. The blade is nicely shaped, nothing fancy about it. It's got a stone wash to it. But it's a typical drop point blade. It's got a kind of a swedge back here. It's just about 3 inches. I think it's a hair under 3 inches, the sharpened portion of the blade. And the overall length is maybe right about 7. I measured it earlier. I think it might be just over 7 inches in length. The weight of the knife, it's listed at 3.4 ounces, which really isn't bad. I mean, it's not, you're not going to notice the weight of this knife in your pocket. It feels lightweight. It feels good in the hand. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of serrations. That's just a personal taste thing. So if you're looking, if you absolutely have to have serrations, hey, it's got them. If you don't necessarily care, like me, I'm not a big fan of serrations generally, but for EDC, sometimes sometimes it comes in handy to have serrations, and if you're looking for that, there you've got them. The steel is advertised as 8CR13 MOV, and I had to look that up. I'd heard of it before, but I didn't really know much about it. It's a Chinese steel, but in budget blades, it is regarded as a decent steel. You will see that steel on some more expensive knives. I shouldn't say expensive knives, but more expensive than this. I paid $8 for this knife. It's definitely not a premium steel, but it gets the job done. It's reasonably tough. It holds an edge well, and it's a stainless steel. So, it's not gonna rust or corrode easily. It's definitely been plenty durable for the tasks I've put it through. I've done a little bit of whittling on sticks with it. I've cut through cardboard with it. I've, obviously the ordinary tasks that you do, opening boxes, and it's not going to have any trouble with any normal EDC task. I even use this for striking a ferro rod. I wanted to see, because I understand that the stainless steel blades are not ideal for that purpose, but it makes sparks. I don't recommend this to you, but I did turn it around and I actually used the blade portion to strike that ferro rod, and partly because I wanted to see how the blade stood up to it, and there was no significant damage. If you look close, you'll see a nick or two along that edge. I guess I could clean this a little better, but anyway, if you look real close, you'll see a nick or two along that edge. But again, I put this through a lot of abuse and probably some tasks that you wouldn't expect an ordinary EDC blade to go through. So I'm definitely satisfied with the performance of the steel. I would say it's comparable to some other budget knives. This is a CRKT. I've had this for, I want to say 7 or 8 years. I mean, I've really had this a long time, and you can see there's some wear on the blade that I think really shows that. I've used this quite a bit and put some scratches in it, and this has been a great knife for me. It's also a flipper, but it's a little bit different style. You use your thumb to open it. This would very much be the competition for this knife. Similar overall design, drop point blade. This one obviously does not have the serrations. I wouldn't even be surprised if that's G10 scales. I didn't actually look that up beforehand, if it's G10 or if it's like a Zytel or what that is. But, similar scale material. I don't know anything, honestly, about the steel of this, other than that from my personal experience, it has held an edge very well, and certainly has not corroded. But ergonomically, I would actually pick this knife over this one. And in terms of fit and finish and overall, the functionality of the knife, I would stack this one up against this one, no problem. And this one I want to say I paid $25 or $30 for this, and it was on sale. I've seen it listed at $39.99. So you could definitely expect to pay 3 to 4 times as much for this knife as this one. And as I said, I really, performance-wise, I would put this one up against the CRKT. Now, I may be singing a different tune in 7 or 8 years if I use this one every day. Maybe it doesn't have the long-term durability, but really examining the various parts of the knives, I would expect it to stand up and really hold up pretty well. Another example here, and this is maybe closer in terms of the price point. This is the Balkan Diskin, and this is probably a $17 to $25 knife, depending on where you order it from. Similar in size, but when folded, I think this is a slightly more compact knife. But something that I do want to point out, both of these knives have only one position for the clip, and there is no other place, at least not pre-drilled, where you can put that clip. Compare that to my little Harbor Freight special here. 1, 2, 3, 4 different positions that you can easily move the clip to. So for a left-handed, right-handed, point down, point up, pretty much every way you want to carry your knife, this one will do the job. So really, to summarize, I'll say that if you're in the market for an inexpensive but functional, well-made, durable EDC knife, or maybe you just want a cheap beater that you can throw in the car or the toolbox, or at this price point, you could buy 3 or 4 of them and put one in the car, in the toolbox, in a drawer, and throw it in your pocket too. I mean, it's that cheap. I really think you should give this one a look. I was really pleasantly surprised to discover the overall quality of this knife. Definitely comparable to a lot of other, again, of the budget folding knives. I'm not going to put this up against a $200 Benchmade or Spyderco or something, or even a $50 or $75. But in that budget end of things, the $20, $30, $40, I think this knife will hold its own with any of the other knives that are priced really 2 to 3 times as much, And in some ways, it may even offer greater features, especially if you're somebody who likes to have the option of carrying left pocket, right pocket, point up, point down. You know, it's nice to be able to adjust that clip. So there it is. I found another product that I can enthusiastically recommend from Harbor Freight. If you're in the market for a budget folder that'll serve you well, definitely take a look at the Gordon Challenger. So thanks for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'm here at least 2 to 3 times per week. You know, as I said, I haven't done a lot of reviews. I'll do a few of them now and then, especially when I run into a product that I really, really like. But otherwise, my videos tend to center around blacksmithing, bladesmithing, and sometimes some other DIY type of projects. So again, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.